Thousands of police are expected to be deployed in Luton this weekend at considerable public expense as the so-called English Defence League stage what they're calling a homecoming demonstration in the town. The group's about 2 years old and the police aren't quite sure how to classify it. They're vehemently anti-Islam, yet also have non-white and gay members. So in a moment, I'll talk to their self-styled leader, Stephen Lennon, the man who goes by the pseudonym Tommy Robertson. Qu'ran, a reporter for Newsnight and the BBC Asian Network, has spent the last 6 months getting to know members of the EDL.
In the 2 years that have passed since its inception, the English Defence League has held demonstrations up and down the UK.
Muslim bullet!
They've spawned opposition groups and counter-demos, the combination shutting down city centres. It was here in March 2009 that a small group of Muslims taunted a parade by the Royal Anglian Regiment. The EDL formed in reaction, claiming to be opposing radical Islam.
It's escalated across the country, it's gained momentum, it's now a phenomenon that swept the country, and we're bringing it back, and we're showing how far we've come in 2 years. In between these 2 years, I hate to say I told you so, another Luton radicalised Muslim blowing himself up in Stockholm. This is the heart of militant Islam, this town. The root cause of the problem is the teachings of Islam.
That's how the message has changed though, hasn't it? Since you started. It used to be, we're against radical Islam.
Yeah, because I didn't know anything.
Happy with Islam.
No, because I didn't know anything about the Qu'ran when we first started. I didn't know what left wing or right wing was. I'd never turned the computer on. Do you know what I mean? I just knew that things were seriously wrong. When you take a 7th century book in its barbaric form, which they do, we have a problem, because this isn't the 7th century, it's year 2011, Britain.
The question for senior figures in the EDL is how they separate their rhetoric from out-and-out Muslim bashing at demos. For this so-called homecoming demonstration, Bedfordshire Police will be forced to mount their largest ever policing operation. They say they'll have 1,500 officers on the ground, that they're expecting up to 12,000 protesters. All this to the dismay of many locals, especially here in Bury Park, the predominantly Muslim area of Luton. Tommy hands out leaflets telling the public the EDL's not here to cause trouble.
You from the EDL?
Yeah.
Get out of my face.
Yeah, well done.
They've been liaising with police for months. With thousands of supporters, they hope they've educated on the dangers of Islam. Luton will be the biggest test yet of just what the EDL has become.
Qu'ran reporting there. Well, Stephen Lennon of the English Defence League is here now. English Defence League, what are you defending England from?
Sharia law, Islamism, the complete spread of militant Islam, which we're seeing in our towns and cities across the country.
You believe that this country is in serious danger of being taken over and put under Sharia law?
I believe that towns and cities have got the spread of Sharia law. We're seeing people calling for it to be implemented on a daily basis. We've got 100 Sharia court law. We have 100 Sharia law courts operating in this country. In 2003, the European Court of Human Rights done an in-depth study, and they outlawed Sharia law on the facts that it is incompatible with Western democracy due to their views on homosexuals, their views on women's and their views on infidels. So it's outlawed, but we've got 100
honestly
Sharia
believe
courts.
that there is a serious danger of the legal system of this country being replaced by Sharia law?
I believe that there's 100 Sharia law courts operating in this country. I believe that people are seeing that given an inch they want to take them on.
Only for those who wish to abide by them, of course. They're not law courts.
They are. There's 100 Sharia law courts dealing with local Islamic issues. And it's been outlawed.
Financial and family disputes within the Muslim community.
It's been outlawed it's been outlawed in 2003 by the European Court of Human Rights.
So there is no danger of it taking over our legal system. So what is it you're trying to defend England against?
The spread of Sharia law, the spread of terrorism, the spread of extremism, Islamisation, the political wing of Islam. That's what we're trying to do.
Could a Muslim join the English Defence League?
Of course they could, yeah. Of course they could.
And yet you say you're not against Muslims.
No.
They could join your organisation, but you are against Islam.
We're against Islam taken in its 7th century barbaric form.
Well,
Which
your
when it's
direct
taken
quote is, I'm not against Muslims, just Islam.
Against militant Islam. And when I say Islam, taken in its 7th century barbaric form. If Islam was to evolve, which it needs to evolve, to fit in with Western democracy, which is clearly not. Clearly there's a problem. Clearly the English Defence League is a phenomenon that swept this country. And with the issues I'm talking about, Jeremy, if I ask you, do you know anyone that's hooked on heroin sold to them by Muslim gangs? You probably don't. I do. Do you know any beautiful girls that you went to school with that are now wearing a burqa that don't see their family? Probably don't. I do. Do you know anyone who's been murdered by a Muslim gang? You probably don't. I do. Do you know any 15-year-old girls that you know that you've grown up with that have been raped or pimped? You don't. So I don't expect you to understand the issues.
These are all personal issues of yours.
Personal issues in towns and cities like mine that are happening, and they're not happening with the Sikh community, they're not happening with the Jewish community.
And indeed, they're not happening with most Muslims.
No, they're happening within the Islamic community. This is what I'm saying, that it's an Islamic problem. And when I'm just a simple person, so I'm just a normal person, but when I'm looking at, I have to look for where this hatred's coming from.
So are you seriously suggesting there aren't white drug dealers and there aren't white gangs?
Of course I'm not, no.
Or Sikh gangs or any other kind of...
No, I'm not, but I'm saying some of these specific issues are coming from the Islamic community, solely the Islamic community. Terrorists wanting to blow us up, constant hostile activity towards our youth, all these problems, and from sitting back, there's got to be something it's coming from. None of the other communities are spreading it, so we're a symptom of the problem. The English Defence League are a symptom.
You're claiming that community is spreading it. Actually, what we're talking about
Members
here...
of the community.
Yes, exactly, as you could talk about members of the white community doing all sorts of atrocious things.
Yeah, but not 24-year-old groups of 10 of them hanging around outside school gates.
You've never seen a white gang?
And purposely targeting...
Never seen a white gang?
Are we going to pretend that Muslim groups are not out there purposely targeting our youth and pimping them? Are we going to pretend it's not happening?
You're not pretending white people aren't doing that?
Then not in the same manner, not in the same group. They're saying it's a cultural thing which is going on within their community. And no one dare say it. I sat and watched Question Time, and when I watched Question Time, all I could see our political leaders was trying to explain that Jack Straw could have dressed it up a little bit better, and talking about these girls like they're statistics. They're not statistics. These girls are... Well, whose daughters do you think these are? Whose sisters? They're ours, in working class towns and communities. And people are fed up of what's going on, and it is being ignored. For 20 years... Our councillors and the leaders from the Islamic community have conspired with the police to not deal with Muslim pimping gangs. They've allowed systematic rape of our youth for the fact of being scared to be called a racist.
Although you know perfectly well that this happens in all communities with a tiny minority of people. Your broader point is to tar the whole of the Muslim community.
I'm not tarring the whole of the Muslim community, no.
Well, you keep saying that the Qu'ran is an evil book.
I didn't say that, but I will agree with you on that, but I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that there is a root problem. We're all symptoms. All these things are symptoms. We need to... Don't waste your money. The government are going to waste their money doing an in-depth investigation into these Muslim paedophile gangs, yeah? Don't waste your money. Do an in-depth investigation into the Qu'ran. All of this hatred has got to be coming from somewhere. Because every time we hear a philosopher or an expert on Islam who's a non-Muslim, they'll tell you.
Any Muslim who takes the Qu'ran seriously is, in your view... an enemy of this society?
No, any Muslim that takes it in a 7th century barbaric form.
In that case, so you believe in some sort of revised Qu'ran, do you?
I believe they need to revise it. I believe...
Who should do the revising?
97% of imams who are teaching in this country are from abroad. So that means these imams are teaching the same form of Islam that is taught in Saudi Arabia, the same thought that is taught in Pakistan. In Saudi Arabia, you can't have a Bible. Both of these countries are Sharia-driven hellholes, without being rude. These issues. So if they're
read the Qu'ran?
If they're taking, what I'm saying is, if they're taking that form of Islam from Pakistan or Afghanistan and they're
teaching it... Let me take you through what some of the people on your Facebook site are talking about what should happen this weekend.
If we're taking Facebook as a real form of what's happening within the English Defence League,
you can take these things out. I mean, you only refer to support.
Anyone can set up a profile on Facebook.
Let's burn them all and everything. I want to stamp on an effing Paki's head. I mean, do you understand that people are frightened by that kind of thing, and they're frightened by the possibility of this demonstration this weekend?
We're frightened by militant Islam. We're frightened by Sharia law. The leader of the Luton Council of Mosques, the leader of the Luton Council of Mosques...
Aren't you worried by what you've set off?
The leader of the Luton Council of Mosques, who is in charge of 19 mosques in our town, called for Sharia law for the Islamic community in our town. That frightens me. That frightens me.
And you're not frightened by what the prospect of a lot of young men swaggering around a town chanting about doing packies and the rest of it?
Genuine causes. We've got genuine grievances. Ours is a righteous cause. All
right.
It is. So
okay.
We are, but I am worried.
Right.
I am worried, and many people across towns and cities.
Right. A lot of people are worried. I believe you. Right. Most of the newspapers tomorrow morning go with the news from Egypt, not surprisingly, and so there's no point in going through them in any great detail. That's it for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. Good night.